Hey everyone, how's it going? So today I'm going to be doing a review of one of my carriers, and that would be the Semapo Gear 1694 with the K front. So first I'm going to list the features, then I'm going to go about the quality, materials, stuff I don't like, stuff I do like, things I'd like to see improved, and just my kind of experience with it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this. So I'll just talk about the front of it first, the 1694K. So one of the biggest characteristics of the 1694K is the triple mag shingle up front, with built-in mag flaps. These are great. They have the perfect amount of retention in both the Velcro and the elastic. So it's great. You could hold one mag in there. It's not going to come out. You could hold two mags in there without it. You really kind of shoving it in there, possibly ripping something, and it's still easy to take out. And of course, you could and that's for M4 mags. You can run two MP7 mags in there. I did. It ran perfectly fine. You could run possibly an AK mag in there. You should have enough room to run 3 AK mags. I don't know about running 6. That seems a bit too much. But we have grommets on the bottom to allow drainage. So just in case you have water spilled on you, or it's raining a lot, your pouches are not going to be filled with water, which is also a plus. You know, you don't want to be walking around with a ton of water up front. Then of course we just have a single column of Molly next to them, so I have a tourniquet and a Eagle Industries pouch. Now another thing I want to talk about the Velcro. I'll just kind of go into it right now, and that is how closely it resembles my Eagle Industries pouch Velcro, the AR1. So, I mean, at a distance you can't even really tell. You'd have to really look up close to see a difference, and that is also because this pouch has been used a little bit more than this has. So this may or may not change. I could probably just rub a little bit of dirt on it and it would look identical. So that's that. Another thing I like about the flaps is the length of them. I wasn't the biggest fan at first, but because I started running 6 mags up front, the length really made sense, as instead of it kind of falling all the way down or being way too high, it sits in there rather perfectly when you have 2 mags in there. So it should sit similar to that. And of course we have nice little tabs up front to pull the pouches up. Then we have tabs on either side of the front flap, just easier to lift it, so that's pretty nice. Now going behind and above the mag flaps, we have a nav board pouch, or just another admin pouch. So as I said, you can put a navigation board. Not really anything that you might want to use for airsoft, but nevertheless, it's there. You know, it's on the real carrier, so Semapo put it on their carrier. That just shows some of the attention to detail that they have. Now, it's pretty deep. It goes about, I want to say, 4 to 5 inches deep and about 4 to 5 inches wide. So you could put a pretty hefty knife in there if you wanted to, as I know a lot of people do that. But yeah, there's another admin pouch. You could put a map, any type of small things in there, maybe even a phone. You could put a phone in there and you wouldn't have to worry about it getting hit by BBs. So that's pretty cool. Now, let's go on to the inside. Literally, the inside front plate pocket. It holds my S&S precision training plates in there perfectly, and of course you can see the little pouch in there for the navigation board admin. So it goes on the inside of the carrier. It doesn't go on the inside of the flaps or nothing like that. So moving up, we have a very nice large piece of Velcro for your admin, or in front of your admin, I should say. A very nice large piece of flap there, so it retains anything you put in your admin. It doesn't come out like my Right in the Rain notepad. I got a V-light in there and some Sharpies, just for whatever. We have more webbing on either side to allow comms, so we have kind of whatever you want to put on there. There's a ton of different options on there. I put mine, this setup, as you've seen in my other video, my Ironclad video. So this is how I had mine set up, and that's kind of how I did this video. just because that's how I used it. Now another thing I want to note before I get really into it is this does come with an internal cummerbund, so if you feel like you need more I guess retention or more stability even, you could have this. And on the inside of the back we have Velcro. It goes through on either side right here. The Velcro's down so it doesn't slide from side to side. And we have tabs on the inside of the front that this goes into. I didn't use this because I just didn't feel like I needed to. The cummerbund, the external cummerbund is more than adequate, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about that now. So we'll just talk about this side, as the other side just kind of has too much shit on it. Obviously they're identical. We have a very nice, comfortable padding right here, and actually, before I even forget, so does the rest of the carrier pretty much. Everywhere that's going to touch your body is going to have very nice, comfortable padding. We have it up front in the K panel, we have it in the back panel, and of course we have it on the shoulder straps. So literally every piece of this carrier that is going to be touching your body is going to have some sort of padding, which is, as I said, very comfortable. And when you're running this for very, very long, extended periods of time, like 6-7 hours, you really do want that padding. So we have, of course, a ton of MOLLE on the sides. We have 3 rows, and I forget how many columns. I think it's, I can even count right now for you. So 1, 2, 3, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want to say there's at least 9, probably 10. I can't see because it goes in there. So the attachment system is just like every other cummerbund system. There's a shock cord in there that's just routed through the cummerbund, and you just tighten it down and tie it up for if you want it more snug, or if you're a bigger guy you can loosen it up, just stuff like that. So the inside of the external cummerbund, as I said, has some very nice padding, and when you're running comms like a 148 or a 152, this will definitely save you from having those very huge bruises. I run my 152 usually on a internal pouch that's attached to the attached to the front plate pocket, and there's usually not a lot of padding on it, if any at all, and I walk away and I have a huge bruise about this big on my side. So with this, the bruising was very, very minimal, and the way it attaches is we of course just have a button with some paracord on the front. So that's pretty great. So if you need it longer, which I did need it longer because I used a 152, which is a lot bigger, and I just used my own paracord, that's not a problem at all. A very simple thing that you can do. Another thing I did was I just added some Velcro on the bottom, just so the hook of this Velcro, if it sits low, it doesn't really eat at my shirt, and I don't have frays just in one spot, so it just kind of keeps my shirt from having too much excess wear, or even a hoodie or a jacket. Now the MOLLE is stitched perfectly fine. I took off a couple of these pouches and looked at the stitching to see if any tears were happening, any loose stitching was happening. Nothing at all. Every single one of the MOLLE on 90% of this carrier, 99% of this carrier that I checked was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. Very, very strong stitching, very strong materials. You could also hold 2 magazine pouches, or 2 magazines in here with relatively ease. Then of course we have some Velcro and another flap, so you can put a hard armor plate in here if you wish, or anything else that may fit in there. I just have my pouches on the side. If you don't know what these pouches are, you can go ahead and check out my ironclad video, as I went through everything on this carrier. We have a, of course, large piece of Velcro on the front and the back to connect with the 1694K, and we have a nice little bit of paracord here, so it's easier to rip off. It pulls it at the top and the bottom, held in there by grommets, and what's nice is when you pull this, it pulls at the edges, so the edges peel off first, and it comes off really, really easily. So now let's go on to the back panel. We'll talk about the inside of the back first. As I said, we have that very nice padding in there that will save you, definitely, for sure. And we have Velcro for the internal cummerbund and Velcro up top. and the Velcro is the same color as what's in front on the mag flaps. It might be a little bit darker because it was against my skin and I sweat on it quite a bit, so it's going to even come to a much more natural color, similar to the Eagle Industries pouch. So it's very soft Velcro, and of course you can put your pig pontoons there for extra padding if you really feel like you have need to, and we have some more up here. And honestly, just the Velcro on here is just enough extra material and padding to make this carrier that much more comfortable. Now, just above that, we have the Semapo Gear Tag, which honestly I think is really cool. I know a lot of people don't really like reproduction tags on their repo gear, but I'm actually a big fan of it when you have such a high quality piece of gear like this, and you get to show off the tag and you know it's authentically by Semapo Gear. Now, I would like to see whoever made this or inspected it to put their little initials on there. I think that just might add another cool piece of, I don't know, I just think it would be pretty cool. Now on the back, we have a very large drag handle, which somebody actually dragged me by, and of course we have no loose stitching. It looks perfectly intact. We have 8 columns of MOLLE, but honestly only 6 of them, the 6 middle ones, are usable. You know, as I said, sorry I didn't take off these pouches. You know what this carrier looks like from pictures and all that other stuff, but I can tell you off of the quality, there's absolutely no loose stitching whatsoever. If you could kind of see in there, none of this, I mean there's even a twig in there, thrown in there. None of the stitching is coming loose at all. We have a very nice big drag handle like I said, and if you look at the shoulder straps in the back, we have double, possibly even triple stitching. It's hard to really tell, but it's nice and tight, so you can tug on this all day long and it's not going to come loose. We have Velcro for communications, or hydro, or pretty much anything else you want to put on. It's on either side, and what I really like about it is they have a little piece of webbing that goes around it, so you don't have this big piece of tan sitting there, so it's color matched to the rest of the carrier. On this side it's holding one of my antennas, and I just have some rubber band in there just for more retention because it will move back and forth. Now, as I said, we have 8 columns and 6 rows, but the 6 columns, the inner columns, are the only usable ones. The 2 on either side are rather small, which is just like what the real one has on their newer versions, on some of their newer versions. So you can see how small it is there. I'm sure if you really tried and got some small little pliers, you could pull through and get a pouch on there. I didn't really want to because as you can tell, I'm already running quite a few pouches on here, and I'm going to slim it down. I just wanted to see how well this worked with load bearing, and it worked perfectly fine. Very comfortable, as I said. The back has the same attachment as the front does, and as you can see, my SNS training plate is in there as well. Now, moving on to the shoulder pads. The shoulder pads are very nice. They have a very high quality padding materials, just like the rest of the carrier, as I said before. What's really cool about this, and what I haven't seen in any other carriers, reproduction carriers at least, is they have Velcro on the bottom. So when you put the shoulder straps on, there's Velcro on the shoulder straps that actually, the shoulder pads that actually integrate with that. So you don't have any movement, and you can set this perfectly how you want it, and it will stay there. And I think that's pretty cool. It's just another attention to detail that I don't really see often in reproduction carriers. And of course we have communications routing cable stuff on the shoulder pads. Now that moves on to the only gripe that I really have on this carrier, and that is my right shoulder pad. The little Velcro piece, the little Velcro cable piece, I guess you would say, actually ripped off once I put my contacts through it and my hydration tube, and I just looked the other way, just ripped it right off. It was single stitched, so as I said, that's the only problem I have with it. It's not really a big deal, and as you look at that, you can't even tell that it was stitched in there. So if I really wanted to, I could, of course, just get a needle and some thread and easily put it back on there. It's easier to get to if you even want to you can take this off and go through a sewing machine and do it. I mean, it literally would take you 10 minutes, and it's really not that big of a deal. It's definitely not a deal breaker for me for everything else being so high quality. And the only other gripe I have with this carrier is my right side shoulder strap. The material is coming, or the thread is coming loose a little bit, just a tiny bit. I'm not sure if that's picking it up in the video or not, but it's a very, very, very small fraction of something to worry about. As I said, it's only on my right side, so it might have been me. I might have fell, or somebody might have grabbed me and yanked on this carrier rather hard and pulled me away. But that's the only thing. So the other one is coming the tiniest bit, not really at all. Definitely nothing to put a note on. And so the only thing I would really like to see different with this carrier is just reinforcements on the Velcro cables on either side, and just a little bit of reinforcements on the shoulder straps in the front, as much as the back has had. Because the back, that's just, you're going to end up ripping that Cordura before you rip out that stitching. So, yeah, of course everything is real, authentic AOR1, just like pretty much everything else Semapo puts out. It's really great. I love this carrier. If I were going to rate this carrier, you know, a number value from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I would definitely have to give this a good 9, or at the very, very least an 8.5. Now, that's my experience. Your mileage may vary. I would highly recommend Semapo Gear carriers, as I feel like they are probably the most accurate carriers there are. We have everything from real material, like the AOR1 fabric, to high quality Velcro, to ITW hardware even. Very, very nice, comfortable padding. They really pay attention to detail, from all the little Velcro pieces, the correct spot for the nav gear pouch. They really do their homework when they make these carriers. The stitching is phenomenal. The only bad parts were, you know, just in the shoulder straps, where you're going to get the most wear, even on real carriers. If you have any questions or comments, you know where to leave them. Make sure to like, favorite, share, and subscribe. It really, really helps. Make sure to like my Facebook page too. I try to update that daily, if not, you know, every couple days. Go ahead and like Semapo Gear's Facebook page. Tell them, you know, you love their gear. They love hearing that. They do this for us, and it really shows. And as always, you know, have a good one.